Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with Learn Plan Profit. Hope you guys are all having a great start to the morning. I'm going to start sharing my screen, and we have Weston going to be joining us as well. I think I'm about to sneeze, so just a little heads up, headphone users. But one of the ones that I'm watching right now is /CL. One of the things that I want to point out first is that it's been consolidating so much that the MACD is still in favor of /CL. So this is what I would like to call a divergence, where it literally goes to the full cycle of a MACD and then ends up being out in favor of whatever is aggressively uptrending or aggressively descending. So if we go to DWT, although it would almost make sense on why this thing can push up. If you look at the MACD indicator, it's been consolidating for so long that it literally went through the full cycle already, and it's already in favor of it trending back down. So just a little heads up on that. And as of right now, I'm going to set my alert to see if we actually begin to make higher highs on DWT. And if so, great. And if not, then again, we'll just wait for that opportunity to present itself. So I'm going to set a couple of alerts here. We could see that /CL. So for those that are wondering, why am I watching /CL? We're looking overall low points and high points. Right now, /CL is a little bit more on the overbought side than it is on the oversold side. So therefore, it offers potential sell-off, which means that a potential dip by opportunity for DWT. But again, confirmation is key. We got natural gas also showing signs of a pretty aggressive uptrend. It looks like it hit highs of 218, almost highs of 219. One of the things that I want to point out is that the MACD right now and the RSI are not good indicators to refer back to. And this is something that I want you to pay attention to because you could see here that it was showing signs of an uptrend. The overall uptrend, right, and rally on natural gas is so consistent and so aggressive that the MACD just isn't. Again, this is why we say that like the price action and the overall pattern and direction always outweighs any indicator. And you can see that right here. Literally, it's gone through so many times where the MACD tried to reverse. Same thing with the RSI. But at the end of the day, there's just such a strong rally right now on crude oil and on natural gas that it's just not doing anything to be in favor of the inverse ETFs or for it to actually correct itself. So all I would pay attention to right now when you see this happening is the actual price and when it actually confirms it pulling back. So /CL, you can actually see right now, it literally picked right back up and it's about to make higher highs. So then that's in favor of UWT. So I think that this is a time for you to even be that much more selective and that much more patient, because if you're trying to get in right now on DWT and you're just like, it has to, push back up, and /CL has to pull back down, nothing has to happen. At the end of the day, it's patterns tend to repeat themselves. They do not have to. And if you want to be someone that just to ask yourself is if it has to, and you're so certain, then challenge yourself. I challenge you to be patient and wait for confirmation. But there we go. /CL making higher highs. One of the other things that I do want to point out that Weston brought up is like he's looking at American Airlines and he's like, because he's just been watching it closely. And he's like, oh, look, it opened up in the green. This might be a time for me to buy. One of the things that I want to point out, I'm not saying that you should or I'm not saying that you shouldn't. All I'm saying is the overall market, right, with the NASDAQ and overall S&P 500, it's a green day, right? It's recovered quite a bit. And because of that, all those stocks that fall under those specific categories then will then follow. So again, don't be so certain to think that we just because we have confirmation of one day that it's just bound to recover. I'm not saying that it's not going to. I'm just saying that one day does not define an overall confirmation. That's all I wanted to share, right? But just wanted to make sure that you guys could kind of see that by understanding that the overall market is pushing up today, then it makes sense on why /GC would then be showing signs of a sell-off. right? Which then means JDST is then showing signs of an uptrend. And then which means that TQs, right, is then showing signs of an uptrend. This is why it's so important to understand the futures and what those stand for, and the correlating ETFs and the correlating inverse ETFs, because then you always have something to trade, or you always have at least something to pay attention to. And I think that's something that's super important that a lot of people overlook. So right now, today's Monday, right? And one of the things that I forgot to remind you guys on or about is we are challenged, right? So, all right, I want to see how many people are tuning in right now. And again, I don't even care if you guys give this video a thumbs up. It's not about that. I want you to participate. And I just want one thing out of you, right? So there's not that many of you tuning in right now. There's about 500, right? It's Monday. I get it. A lot of you guys are probably at work. One of the things that I want to ask you is, what is one thing that you are going to challenge yourself based off of last week's performance? I don't care how much money you made. There's always room for improvement. So what is one thing that you are going to work on this week, that you are going to change? Again, small changes every single week, or small changes on a consistent aspect can lead to big results. So what are you going to do better? What's your main focus this week? I'm not saying that you have to learn and just completely become a better trader. Just one thing that I want you to focus on. For myself is to be a little bit more patient with my entry point. So my main focus again this week, as it was last week and the week before, is patience. And you guys might be asking, well, Ricky, you suck. It's taking you 3 weeks to, still work on patience. Again, everyone learns at a different rate, and I'm okay with taking my time and making sure that I retain that, best practice. So my focus this week is patience. So we have people saying locking in profits. We got Raphael saying patience. We got Chris saying waiting for confirmation, right? Willie, I'm going to limit my trades to 3 a day. Okay, I like that. To not overtrade, Andrea, I like that. Less trades, more money. Being more selective, I like that, Matthew. Okay, I like that. So going back to paper trading, I think that's a huge step that I think a lot of people don't take because they're too proud, right? At the end of the day, if you can accept that maybe you do need a little bit more practice and it's probably in your best interest, that's a huge accomplishment in comparison to the average person. So cutting losses and patience. All right, I like that. So cutting losses and patience, self-discipline. My challenge is to minimize my account to trade and focus on higher quality trades rather than quantity. I like that. I like that, Luke. Nice. Less trades. And again, I know that not everyone participated. At the end of the day, you do not have to, right? I just think, right, if you're in a classroom, I think a lot of the people that are watching right now have either graduated high school, right, or at least have gone through the 9th and 10th grade. So how many of you guys think that you would have performed better if any time that you had a question, you simply asked that question? I know that I would have done a lot better if I would have just participated and have been more involved. That student that was always in class, that was always asking questions that we would get annoyed about, right? Guess what? They were passing, and they were passing with flying colors. But at the end of the day, again, I'm not here to tell you what to do or to make you do something. I just want you to know that you invested in our team to hold you accountable. You've gone through the course, and live trading is one of the, in a sense, what is it that we can call it? One of the benefits of being a part of the Learn Plan Profit team. And all I want you to know is that, again, we're not here to tell you what to do, but I'm here to try to hold you accountable for your actions. So I wanted to challenge you this week. My challenge, again, is to refine and to get better with my patience. And if you don't feel like sharing, then at the end of the day, you don't have to. But I just want to make sure that you know that my effort is there. And if you end up not sticking and going according to plan and continuously trying to improve, And at the end of the day, the only person that you can blame for either your failure or for your success is yourself, right? So if there's anything that I can do to better assist you, then just direct message me on Discord if you just would not like to share it within the live chat. I just want to make sure that we kickstart this week a little bit differently, right? I want to be a little bit more involved. We've been getting a couple different suggestions. I'm literally like trying to dedicate like hours out of my day, not just for the live trading, but to work with people within the, Discord chat, being active under the trade ideas and posting updates. Like, right? I'm one person, I'm trying, and I just want the overall experience to be that much better, right? So if there's anything that I can do to better assist you that's within my means, then of course I'll do that. If you're gonna ask me to go live for 8 hours to trade, probably not gonna do that, right? But at the end of the day, I just want you to know that I want to hold you accountable, and I expect the same from you, right? So I want to have a great week. It's either, we learn a lot or we'll profit, but hopefully both, right? I like it.
Yeah, this is crazy. So, remember PAYS? Look at today. It's just so, you can tell it's,
wow. Okay.
It just looks so, over.
Oh, this is definitely a little bit different.
Right?
Yeah. Where's the pizza? Appreciate that, Raphael. DPW. Yeah. Oh, there's definitely some news that came out. This is not.
Oh, really? That's not just.
This would not be.
Because that's pretty dramatic.
Yeah. Yeah. No. PAYS. I'm trying to see and I can't find anything. I don't know if TD Ameritrade is not the best for this, but. Yeah, I don't see. This is not the right date. So, it's like, yo, Ricky, how did you get over the fear of being wrong when you first started trading? The dollar amount doesn't scare me, but just being wrong does. Brennan, I would say that, I guess being wrong has never been an issue of mine. I just think that even like as you're going through the course, right, you're learning all these different concepts. In my opinion, I would say that one of the best ways to practice is to literally, as soon as you learn about the RSI, to practice what it is that you just learned and then try to use it as an indicator. And instead of just dedicating maybe 5 minutes to refer to the RSI and that's it, to maybe try to trade with the RSI or to be able to use it as a reference and to kind of go back and forth. At the end of the day, the more mistakes that you make, especially now, think about this, the more mistakes that you make now, that should empower you and just get you more excited, because that means it's not going to mean that you're going to make less mistakes later, but with the smaller dollar amount that you have in your account right now in comparison to what you can have 5 years from now, it's best to practice everything that you want to learn now. So that's just kind of the mentality that I would kind of try to have, is that the more mistakes that you make, it's the more shots that you are taking. And it's not about just taking as many shots as you can, but to not be afraid to, when there is a reason behind a trade, to feel empowered to take advantage of that opportunity if it makes sense. And if it goes according to plan, then great, right? You can take a mental note of that. If it doesn't go according to plan and you make a mistake, then also what could you have done better at that point that would have then assisted you maybe a little bit better, and then you try it, right? You refine it and then you try it again until it works, and then you continue to do it until you find a working system. So that was kind of the idea of the learn, plan, profit, is that it takes time to learn, and then you plan out how it is that you're going to try to approach the market. You refine, and then as you continue to do it, then it would make sense on why then profit would be a follow. So is Ricky in DWT? No, just so you guys could see, have not taken one order, nothing. We could see that everything is closed out, so have not taken one order, not even canceled an order, just like you guys saw every other day. I've been only focusing on day trades. So Brendan, okay, I like that advice. Thanks. Okay, of course. Thank you again for asking. But I am watching DWT, right? Look how overextended forward/CL is. So PAYS just went even higher. Yeah.
Really? What's going on?
Okay. Dina's saying look at the 180-day 4-hour chart for PAYS. That, yeah. It looks like it hit almost like it's called a head and shoulders pattern, and then it bounced off, and then that it would make sense that it would almost continue to uptrend.
That's pretty fast.
How much money would you recommend switching from Robinhood? So strats, one of the first things that I want you to know, and again, I know this is super annoying, but I'm not here to tell you how much you should trade with or switching from Robinhood or anything like that. I think that the idea that I would have in my head, and again, this is me being super annoying, but I know it makes sense, is that when you're transitioning from Robinhood to maybe something like TD Ameritrade or a more advanced brokerage, there's still going to be a new learning curve. And with that being said, it's not going to be a fluid transition. So just because you're trading with $5,000 on Robinhood doesn't mean that it's going to be a fluid transition to TD Ameritrade. So I would still approach it that, wow, I still need to test and practice with this and then scale. If you saw the video that I uploaded last week, we got a lot of positive feedback talking about how I scaled to a 100K trading account. I would encourage you to watch that and maybe take a couple of the tips that I talk about in that video and see if anything resonates well with you. So here we go. We're getting a little bit of a pullback once again. Can one of you, so let's see who can point it out. Can one of you point out maybe why I don't want to take a position right now on forward/CL? What about this is, some of you guys might be like, well, Ricky, it's below the EMA line. Why, right? So it's looking a little bit more attractive, but why as of right now, and there it goes, it's actually pulling back a little bit more than I expected, but why as of right now am I trying to be a little bit more patient? There's just one thing that I'm like, right there we go. So gee, lower lows, right? And there it goes. So now, and one of the other reasons is the MACD, right? The MACD is already oversold, which means that it could potentially try to find a support, but it is going. So DWT in just the past, what is this? This has to be over, 1.5%. Now we're at this middle VWAP area. Do you guys see this? But look, now it already looks a little bit on the oversold side, right? So now we have to take that into consideration. So, how much more can it go? Do I really expect it to fully recover or to go to the SMA line? I don't know. I think it might be a little bit too much on the overbought side already for it to continue to rally, right? So confirmation of a reversal, I like that. But again, today's Monday. Today's going to pretty much set the tone for the week, right? And based off of my trading week last week, I took a pretty, actually on Monday I took I think $700 loss, which still sucked. But then on Tuesday I took the $2,800 loss. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to put myself in a bad position. And I'd rather end it just maybe with a couple $100 in the green rather than, again, a couple $100 in the red. The percentage, right? It's just like I want to kickstart it on a green note. I ended it green last week. I want to kickstart it green. So, but again, it doesn't matter what I want. My efforts need to be in the right place and allow an opportunity to present itself where it actually makes sense. So I'm just trying to be more selective. Here it goes. It looks like it definitely is trying to still continue to sell off. So. But I just want to make sure that we're not making higher highs anymore. As you see, we were making higher highs. Oh, there it goes. So DWT shot. So I'm going to go in with a smaller position size, right? So we're at 650. I'm going to go in with 4,000 shares. And I'm going to see if I can wait for forward/CL to push up a little bit before. Let's see. Alrighty. So that was a 26% entry. And there it goes. We're making higher highs. It makes sense, right? So on this one, I'm going to go in with 8,000 shares, but I'm going to be a little bit more selective. I want to wait for lower lows. So I'm going to wait for the alert to break below 55.60 for /CL. So again, right now, if you were trading with $1,000, it's like you getting in with $260. That's pretty much the entry that I just entered with, if that makes sense. Right now we're getting a message saying that we're lagging. It looks good on my side. Am I mistaken? Is it lagging? It looks green on my side. It might just be no lag here and not on my end. Okay, so it looks like it was just his. Here we go. So again, what am I looking for? What am I trying to pay attention to? Right here. So again, I have my order ready. I want this thing to break below and begin to make lower lows before I go in and add an additional almost $50,000. And there it goes. It's beginning to find a potential support, and that's great. It's bound to happen, right? So there it goes. It's picking up. And because of my smaller position size, so it's pretty much like going in with a 1/4 position size, that means that, it's like it gives me a little bit more of a cushion, right, to work with. So if it pulls back or if it pushes up or, still needs a little bit more time, I can do that with kind of the peace in mind without the emotional aspect of having $100,000 on the line, right? For those that have like $10,000, like if you're fully invested in your trade, you might be like, holy crap, like what's going on? I'm being honest, right? This is something that I think a lot of us think about when we're all in. And I think that if you're in with $2,500, you're just like, I can let it move around 1% and it won't devastate me. That's kind of like where I'm at right now. Let me know if that makes sense to you. This is why I try to average up and not go all in. Especially, I waited for confirmation. I might have been a little bit too late, but I wanted to make sure that I waited for confirmation and that, natural gas or crude oil made sense on why it had a little bit more to give back. So because of that, I decided to take my position. And here it goes. It looks like it's beginning to pull back a little bit. Again, I'm waiting for it to break below this general area. So by it breaking below this general area, I see there to be like a little gap for it to fill, right? So if it fills this gap, then that means that DWT would then be just a little bit more attractive. But it's definitely something that I can wait out for. So I'm going to set my alert there. But I'm also going to set my alert as we're getting close to the overall SMA line, if we even get close to that. Again, goals are something to work towards, not something that has to be met every single time, right? And I think that's something that a lot of people need to hear. Sometimes people think like by setting a goal, it has to be hit every single time. It'd be beautiful if it were to be that simple, but it's not. Let's see. It's consolidating here, so it could look at the MACD and look at the RSI. It could be finding a potential support, and it could then try to push up. So again, that is why my entry right now has to be something that's a little bit more selective. So, there's not an amount of candlesticks that I really look for, Chris. You can try to see. I would say that every single time it's a little bit different depending on, let me give you an example, Chris. If there's more of a consistent pattern with like what's trending up and what's trending down, I might need less confirmation to feel comfortable with my entry, right? But with something like /CL, when it was continuously trending up and, the uptrend on /CL is that much more aggressive, I want to trade the inverse one. And because of that, the confirmation then, because the uptrend rally was so aggressive and so consistent, I am then going to want to wait for a little bit more confirmation than if there's an actual consistent aspect with DWT, right? So this one, I just wanted to be a little bit more selective because of the pattern that it was showing. So I would say you kind of have to, that's why I say that almost every single trade is different, because If it's an overall like consistent uptrend, then it's much easier to identify the low points and the high points, and then just to go off of that. But when it comes down to, if there's not such a consistent aspect, and if something is just about to reverse after something became super overbought, I might have to be a little bit more patient. I hope that makes sense. So, how's Weston doing? Yeah, what are you doing over there, Wes?
I'm not gonna mess with BWT. I only have 3 day trades, so I don't see this one to be one that I want to take because I'm stuck.
Yeah. So okay, Chris says makes sense. So I think that's a good point that also Weston brought up, is that he's under the PDT rule, meaning that he has to be a little bit more selective. So the trades that I might see value in, me not being under the PDT rule, doesn't necessarily mean that meets his criteria, right? And honestly, like, you're kind of looking more into like swing trades, something, right?
Yeah, just because it complements like with work.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the.
Do you think you'll finish up the truck today?
I could finish, but it'd be, you know what I mean? It's gonna take all day.
Okay.
So it's like pick and choose. It's so much. It's actually like a lot of labor. So.
Right now, Weston is working on his, we like to call it the lightning.
Literally.
Because it's a blow-in for lightning. But Weston, if there's, I could never do what he's doing right now. Weston is super just well-versed in fixing. I don't understand. Like, he literally takes apart the motor. And for me, I'm a car guy, but I could never do that.
Yeah, well, not with your car. I would never touch one of your cars.
Yeah. But you get the point, right?
Yeah. Well, it's I've always been like that. I don't know why. I kind of like that mechanical. It's like a puzzle.
Yeah, a puzzle that I don't want to solve. Yeah.
I mean, this puzzle's not fun, but yeah.
Here we go. Has anyone challenged you for leadership of Tech Buds? No, we all have different roles, and I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't even really view myself as a leader. I don't know. What would you say? I mean, there's things that people refer back to me on, but
challenge you as leadership of Tech Buds.
Yeah.
What does that mean exactly?
Try to take over the main role.
No.
If anything, Justin is kind of my.
I mean, it's very distinct. You're obviously the best trader. We obviously focus on cars, but no one tries to compete against it.
Yeah, there's no one. I mean, we all have different roles and different responsibilities within our group. I think that's a good question because people might think about it. I would never. In my experience, I have learned that it's probably best. I mean, there's a reason that I asked Weston to join our team. There's a reason that I asked Justin to join our team. There's a reason that I asked Ishmael and Michael. And although we might have discussions, and trust me, you've talked to me pretty aggressively before, I've definitely talked to almost every single person within our group pretty aggressively before, but it's constructive criticism.
Yeah.
It's never trying to call one person out and making them feel bad for no reason. It's there's always an intention. And I think that at the end of the day, you just have to be selective with who you choose to be a part of your team, and holding them accountable, but understanding that you will stand behind them, behind what it is that they do. Why isn't it not selling? It's literally at 656 and there's bids. That's so frustrating.
You sell it?
Yeah, I sold it. I wasn't even fully invested in it. It's my first trade.
Yeah, well, that's good. You're up, right?
Yeah, 500, I think. Yeah, 528. I was in with $70,000. So that was literally 3/4 of my normal position size. So
should have listened.
No, you shouldn't. I think you still did good.
Yeah, no, it's too.
One tip that I do want to give you, and again, I'm not anyone to say that we run the most I would still say we're kind of in we're still learning every single day what to do and maybe what not to do, and everything that we're doing is from making mistakes and learning from it. We don't have a business advisor, or nothing that we've done has ever offering life live trade, like everything it is that we do is all based off of just trial and error and trying to do what we think is best for our group. And do we make mistakes? Every single day. And I think that's the beautiful part of like a startup, right? It's like with the different things that we're doing, we're really just here to with trying to like innovate and provide as much value in comparison to anyone else. We're always trying to, even take a risk where it might not make the most sense now, but at the end of the day, it ultimately will. And one of the things that I kind of want to leave you guys with is that the people that I've added and joined, like TechBuds, Flipping Wheels, Learn Plan Profit, Trade Olympics, and all the different kind of like companies that TechBud oversees, in my opinion, one of the best qualities that we have is that I didn't like bring these people onto our team for them to be a bunch of yes people. Do you get what I mean? And if that doesn't make sense, it's like if I say like, hey, I think that we should do this, that they view me as such a higher up that they're just like, yes. I like getting people that not challenge me, but have their own opinion and that we can kind of go back and forth with. I think that's the whole point of, there's a time that I can present an idea, but Weston will take something and be like, well, I actually think this would be more effective and this is why. And again, that comes from experience and that comes from, at the end of the day, he probably knows what's best for the Flipping Wheels team because he's mentoring them every single day. And again, I'm not here to say that I'm a perfect leader or business owner by any means. But one of the things that we are not afraid to do is to try something new, see if it works. And if it does, great. And if it doesn't, then guess what? We learn from it and move on. And I think that we can take that, what we do with our company, right? And what I do with trading. It's as you're learning, all you're doing is practicing and trying new things. You don't know. Just because something works for me, right? Just because something is explained in the course and that's the way that I do it does not mean that it worked for you. So don't focus on what I'm saying, but understand the reason behind it. That's the biggest thing, is understand the intention behind the action. And I think with that, a lot of you can then have a better understanding of how to take an idea and build off of it and become self-sufficient and a problem solver. So
I like the pattern of AAL.
AAL?
Even though it's descending.
Yeah.
Even though it's descending, it's pretty repeats itself. It seems to tends to repeat itself.
Ricky, what's your trade size? Ooh, we're pushing up. What's your? No, my trade size. I mean, I don't know what this is. I trade with $100,000. So that last trade that I just took, right? I made $528, and now this is where I bought, right? So I was in with, what is that, like 12,000 shares, and then I sold it all. But that was not $100,000. That was about $70,000 worth of it. So what did Weston have for breakfast? Water. Same thing with me. Cheers.
What did I have for breakfast? I haven't ate yet. I'm hungry. I haven't ate.
Oh, I like that. So I like Weston in the mix. He fills the empty space when you're focused, and vice versa. I like that. I got actually a lot of messages saying that by just having you in the Sunday stock time,
beginners.
it helped more beginners. Yeah, it helped them like
questions or things
Yeah.
that they would ask.
Did you see that one person that was like, tell Weston to shut up? No? Did you see it?
No.
There was a guy that kept calling me out, but I kept trying to ignore it so you wouldn't see it because I'm just like...
What was I doing?
Nothing. You weren't doing anything wrong, but people on YouTube are pretty mean. So, yeah, when I saw that, I was just like, dude, like, we were getting so much positive feedback, and then just one dingleberry is just being rude, right?
Oh, well.
Yeah. But so many people said we're much more pro Weston. There's only one person that said, get that blonde guy off the...
He needs what is it, Snickers? Snickers, right? One of those
Get him a Snickers?
Twix, I forget.
Oh, yeah. Snickers bar, yeah.
Yeah. He'll be right.
Yeah. All right. So it looks like DWT is still pushing up. There's no question. I can show you guys this right here just so you guys can better see it, right? I did not this was nothing impressive. So you guys can see it's a total of 12,000 shares. So you guys can do the math with my average purchase price. It ended up being about $70,000. That's about 3/4 of my overall position size. Some of you guys might be asking, Ricky, why did you do that? It's my first trade. I didn't really care I don't want to say that I didn't care to maximize it. I'm getting warmed up right now, right? Market's been open for about 30 minutes. I'm just trying to get a feel. If it got rejected, I would have been more, I want to lock in profits. And with this, I'm 1/3 to my daily goal. Does that make sense? So because of that, I'm just trying to kind of go with the flow. Yes, I could have been up more, but just as much as it went up, it could have gone down. And now it's closer to the overall SMA line, but I'm just trying to be a little bit more selective. So that is my reason, right? I just tried to get in and I tried to get out. So Ricky, are you thinking about getting into UWT? I'm not really, unless it really then presents a reversal, right? So we can set the alert. But now look at this. What do you think about this, Weston?
UWT?
So, yep.
I'm on it.
But it actually looks like it might just continue to sell off.
Yeah, it's definitely not a good buy right now in my eyes.
I would say that it's kind of at a critical point. We don't know if it's going to continue to sell off or if it's going to reverse. So because of that, I would be patient.
I can see it going both ways.
Yeah.
So, and that's not a good thing if you can see both. Either way.
Okay, I like that, Nelson. Thank you for letting me know. There was confirmation of an uptrend for sure. I don't know if you saw, but I was actually kind of late. So one of the things that I waited for was I waited for /CL to make lower lows. And once it did, and then it made even lower lows, and that's when I added my additional position size. So there's definitely confirmation on DWT of it pushing above the EMA line, and I didn't actually get until around 651. And then my second entry was right around 652. So there's definitely confirmation. I waited for the consolidation and then for it to bounce off the EMA line and then continue to rally. So there's definitely confirmation of an uptrend. At least in my eyes, that's what I saw. So I can see maybe why. Well, not really. I don't know why you wouldn't say there was confirmation, but I definitely saw it and I explained it before I did. So today is my LPP birthday. What's going on, Ricardo? Happy LPP birthday. I like that. Message me on Discord or better message me on Instagram and I'll shout you out. If you want to be shouted out on Instagram, I'd be more than happy to tag you. We have a lot of people within Learn Plan Profit that will tag me once they either make a profit or learn something new or just posting themselves trading. You guys know that I always just love posting you guys. You guys will probably get a couple more followers if that means anything to you. And you'll definitely get a lot of questions. If you've ever been tagged, we've gotten people saying that, you get a couple hundred questions. So here it goes. Ricky, any reason that you do not trade drip and gush? I had a really bad experience with drip. And that same reason I don't trade like biotech. Let me give you another reason. Drip and gush, in my experience, is a mixture of crude oil and natural gas. So there's not an exact correlation, but I know that natural gas news and crude oil news can influence both. And because of that, there's not a direct future that exactly correlates to it. There's an index like SPIOC, whatever. And because of that, I just don't find it attractive. It just doesn't meet all my criteria, and there's no reason to if I have natural gas and if I have crude oil, I don't want to trade something that's a mix of both. That's just more difficult for me to identify the low points and the high points from. SPSIOP. There you go. You got it. But that's an index, so it doesn't even trade 24/7 like a future does. So because of that, I don't see all the extra, data and patterns. And again, just because I don't trade something doesn't mean that you can't. There's a lot of people that do like trading gush and drip, as you guys can see in our chat. I just choose not to. But again, I'm not here to tell you what to trade or what not to trade. So you guys know that I'm always here to empower you to trade whatever it is that you want to. I'm just here to share my opinion from my experience. How do you... Dylan, so you might be wondering how did I know to buy exactly 4,000 shares and then to buy the 8,000 shares on DWT? I literally trade this all the time, right? So this, I'm not telling you to trade this by any means, but if you become so micro focused on a specific stock or ETF or area, you're just going to become more well-versed. So it's not like, it's not like I'm any better than you with math or anything like that. It's just, it's just you do it once and then you do it so many times after that it becomes second nature, right? Like when you first tied your shoe, it was probably really difficult, right? But now you can do it without looking down. How do you do that? Experience. So that was a bad example, right? Yeah, so sorry about that. You're a magician though, so let's get on to it. So this is my first day on LPP. What's going on, Pancho? Welcome to the team. So here we go. Do you guys see DWT? I'm trying to watch it very closely, and DWT pushed up. Oh yeah, so it's at 659, and again I sold at 656, so it pushed up another 3 cents. But one of the things that, do you guys see what can potentially act as a resistance? I don't want to say it, so I want you to see it too. Do you know what could potentially act as a resistance?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, hold up. So what could potentially act as a... Oh, and there it goes. It looks like it got rejected, right? SMA line.
Yeah.
Simple. Right? It made sense. Now it got rejected and it's pulling back. So how and why? If you actually look at /CL, the SMA line should actually be acting as a support. So it almost did the exact opposite. I think that's really cool. It's a really cool thing to kind of point out and to pay attention to. So took my first trade and made $100 before commission. Brian, I like that. And again, it's not even about the profit, right? I think that it's so rewarding because I think that we can both agree, Brian, that in 1 year or 2 years from now, as you gain more experience, you don't expect to trade with the same dollar amount. But to understand that you planned out a trade and it went according to plan and you made $100, to think the potential as you scale. So again, that's not about the profit that you made, but the action that you took and what led you, everything that was behind that action and the reasoning. So I like that. So I again paper trade DWT exact same on my screen as I would check to see if you have a 20-minute delay on your paper trading account, and if you don't, then it might just be the way that I have mine set up. So I have the MACD here, the RSI, I overlap my volume as you can see here, and then I have my different indicators. Also, I add this expansion area, which I explained in the course on how to do it, but very quickly if you need a little bit of help with that. I think it's under settings and it's under time access, or what is it? Price access. Wait, what is it? Yeah, it's under time access, and I added an expansion area of 200, which means that it gives you more space here. I don't know if that helps, so I like that. Okay, so see if that helps and makes it look a little bit different. Also, you can kind of go like this, and it might look a little bit different, but you can kind of expand it or widen or shorten it depending on how it looks. We've actually been, we've been live for about 42 minutes. So it looks like, it's trying to find a potential support. So I'm not going to play UWT. I don't think it's going to make higher highs. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's sold off enough that it's giving me some form of, maybe like of an idea that I'm going to wait for this thing to push up, become overbought, make lower highs, and then sell off, and then I'll go into DWT, and hopefully it's just one more trade that I have to take for my overall daily goal. So I'm going to keep it that simple. So how do you set up alerts so quickly? I right-click. So I right-click, click alert, right? And then just go like that. So I think that's something that everyone has access to. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this live stream. I know it was nothing special. I didn't make a ton of money, but we waited for the opportunity to present itself. If anything, I was more patient than I felt that I needed to be. I went in with a small position size. I went in with an additional position size. Overall, I was not fully invested. But again, I feel like I really set the tone to just get my feet wet for this week. And to focus on locking in profits. So I hope it's something that you learned either something new from or at least planned out your main focus for the week. So my main focus is being extremely selective with my entry points. So taking less trades and focusing on being more efficient with quality trades. So I appreciate you guys' time. Hope you guys have an amazing rest of your Monday. If you guys did like this video, we'd appreciate the thumbs up. At the end of the day, it doesn't do the video like anything. But if you would have any suggestions on how we can make this video better or these live streams better, then all I ask you is to literally direct message me on Discord, and I would love to see if we can implement your suggestions. So thank you guys again. Continue working hard, continue following dreams, let your passion be what drives your success. And Brian is saying, as a new trader, even just one point about during the live stream is the most valuable thing. Wow, I appreciate that. Thank you. So like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy.